Olá, eu sou o Daniel, da Embaúba Play. Estou aqui para dar as boas-vindas a todos vocês, para apresentar essa conversa que a gente vai ter agora. Eh, Quero agradecer muito à Flávia Cândida, que vai conduzir esse papo com a Kevin, que é a protagonista do filme chamado Kevin, dirigido pela Joana Oliveira, um filme que é distribuído pela Embaúba e está tendo uma pré-estreia agora na primeira mostra Embaúba Play, quando ele vai ser disponibilizado por 3 dias. A gente tinha até pensado inicialmente em fazer uma live, mas como a Kevin não fala português, a gente achou que para a fluência seria melhor se a gente gravasse e legendasse, que ficaria melhor. Então, nós vamos disponibilizar essa conversa junto com o filme, né? E aí convido todo mundo a assistir. E agradeço muito todo mundo aí que viabilizou essa conversa, né? Agradeço a Flávia, a Kevin, a Joana Oliveira, a Luana Melgaço, produtora do filme, e a Marcela Santos, nossa técnica de som, que está cuidando aí de tudo para essa gravação. Então, é isso. Obrigado, gente.
Hi, Kevin. How are you? Nice to meet
I'm
you.
okay, Flávia.
I'd like to know this project started long before what we see. At first, Joanna's idea was for you to come to Brazil for her wedding, and then it would take place there at Belo Horizonte. But life happened, so she went to Uganda. So did you participate of, did you know what was supposed to be, and what was your co-creation in all this process?
None at all, actually. I knew she was trying to tell a story, to tell our story for that matter, and I didn't do anything. I mostly just waited here for her to get here for a good visit. I knew she'd been speaking about it since we met in Reutlingen, and that is a really, really long time ago. We were both much, much younger. That was really before life happened, like you said. And then I didn't ever make it to go to her wedding. So that is how she changed it to her visiting me here, because then she was able to come. So I did not co-create at all.
No, not even in the scenes of the dialogues that you act together. It is.
Well, I mean the scenes that were filmed here, and I do not know if the scenes back in Germany matter. She had takes that she did when we were still in Germany, when she was over in Germany for another festival, and the audios were mostly me on the phone to her. I think I remember being on the phone to her, and that isn't, well, I was in the film, of course, but I thought you meant co-create in the sense of making that story. I did not, don't have any concrete part in the making of that story.
Just a moment. We were expecting, right now the film was circulating without all this pandemic situation, and the film is much about love, your friendship, and lots of affection. What we are missing now is, traveling to see the ones we love, being together, and this the film brings that and like warms our heart at this moment. So I guess it's the perfect moment for us to see this film to be released. But what was your expectations if we were not at this pandemic situation for you and Joanna traveling with the film? I'd like to talk about a little bit about this.
My expectations again is absolutely none, because I have never been a part of a project like this, never been a part of this kind of work. Joanna had plans like everybody else, Joanna and Luana as well. They had really big plans prior to the lockdown. beginning of last year, I'd say. There were plans, there was talk of festivals, and of course I would have been informed and I would have done as Joanna and Joanna tell me. I was expecting to at
But
least
you
see
had
them.
no, you can.
Yeah, I was
But you had
expecting
just a
I
little.
would.
You can go.
Yes, I was expecting, or at least hoping, I would see the girls again sometime during last year, but of course it was very obvious at the beginning of the year that it would not happen. And then Joanna explained to me about how many festivals are also happening online, like everything else. A lot of things these days happen online, and because of that, this is the second time I'm actually in a conversation about this film. And yes, it is a good time to see a film like this. There is something about how human nature takes us away from hope sometimes, or just the things that happen now, especially take us away from little beautiful things or little hopeful things. And it's good to see a light, and yet it is not so light. It is good to see a hopeful film. You know, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful work. Yeah, so it's a good time to see a work like that.
The film, it's a bit, when Joanna goes to Uganda, her life is a little bit messy at Brazil. So you two meeting like long after you've known each other and you've seen each other. It's like a kind of a healing process for what she's been passing through. Just like to me. So how it was for you helping her through this process, and there's a lot of not a confrontation, but you talking to her about what happened, about the miscarriage and her father. So, and what was this previous to for you to talk, was something that you brought to the film?
These are the difficult parts of the film. I think these are the parts I didn't quite like. I know situations like these are also parts of our lives. It is still very difficult to have to talk to someone so dear about such painful and such tragic event. And that part was not easy. And we've both grown, Joanna and I. And of course our friendship has also evolved as we grow. It is still always difficult to see her going through a hard time. I do not know if coming to Uganda was healing. I think she needed to do it to be able to talk about it. So coming to Uganda is kind of in the background of her healing, so to speak. And I try not to remember what we talked about when those scenes were made, because it was not my yeah, that is a bit difficult. I do not even know if I've answered your question sufficiently. It is a difficult one. But yes, we did speak about it while they were filming, and also while they were not filming. Yeah, she's strong. She's been able to stand through a lot. Many people have to stand through a lot that they never tell. I'm glad she was able to talk about it.
I can't hear you properly.
I hope my mic is still on. I think it is. Yeah. It is on. Can you hear me now, Fabio?
Yeah, it's clear now.
Okay, good. I just have to hold it for a second. Yes, I hope I've answered yours sufficiently.
Sorry, I couldn't. Understand
I hope
now?
I have answered your question sufficiently.
At some scenes, I'm curious because the film is a documentary, but it's not also, it's a hybrid project. It's a kind of a fiction and non-fiction. How did you two manage the situations where the places you go, you took her, and life with your kids, and all
That
this
was a
mess?
lot
That's
of
kind of like
confusion. There was a lot of confusion, a lot of commotion, and it's difficult to have things a certain way when you're running around with children. It's three very free-spirited children, so that was yeah, that was a bit of work having them careful, you know. So sometimes some of the takes were just, you know, an actual take of the commotion happening. Yeah. And a lot of places we went to, of course, there are places that are more beautiful when there is not a lot of, you know, equipment and a lot of, I don't know, these, it's just, of course, after a while you get used to it and it's not on your mind anymore and you can actually just function as you would. But there's always that feeling of knowing somebody's actually here watching what
Yeah.
you're doing, listening to what you're saying, and yeah. But of course, the whole thing was a very chaotic work.
Yeah, but it's although there's a team working with you, it's so like we are we are viewing a conversation. You know, it's so natural. The children, you two, it's like it's not a nonfiction stuff. You know,
Yeah.
it's really, really natural. How did the kids manage it with all the team? You and Joanna. And how was
well, my oldest actually knows Joanna very well. She remembers Joanna from the time she visited when we were in Germany. And the other two, at that time, they were too little to see or understand any of that. They kind of just fell into place. And they enjoyed having so many people around. My children love having people around. So, you know, 6, 7 people on the compound, they were very, very excited. Sometimes they had to be away so that you could have a certain amount of peace and quiet. But they really enjoyed it a lot, a lot. The first time and the second time, they really enjoyed having, you know, so many friends around. Yeah. But it still was quite a job to keep them in a particular place at a particular time. And yeah, it was still very, very wonderful. It was beautiful doing it.
Yeah,
it was beautiful having everybody around. I miss everybody now. I start to wonder. I wonder how they all are.
And have they seen the film?
No, they haven't.
No, they haven't.
No, the children have not seen it yet. I intend to watch the movie with my oldest. She's 10. I am not sure she would get she would enjoy the picturesque setting and seeing her grandfather, because her grandfather was also on it, and seeing what they looked like when they were younger, because it has been a while since their takes were made. And I don't think she would see the message. For her, it's the most normal thing in the world. Joanna has come to visit Mummy. It is absolutely normal. She remembers Gugu, and everything is just, you know, normal. I'm sure she would enjoy watching it from that perspective. The message would not quite get there yet. They're all too little. But it's a beautiful film. Children can, the whole family can watch it. We just haven't sat down yet because I need them to watch it as a regular, you know, I don't want them on the laptop or whatever. I hope I can actually have it on the TV. That would be nice. We will do that soon too.
And there's one moment when you are talking about your place in Uganda, the difficulties that you've been as a free spirit woman. and what is expected about the whole of the women in Uganda. And all this discussion, I think it's kind of for your children, especially the girls, like you letting a heritage for them when
Yeah.
you talk about your expectation and your misplacing there. I'd like you to talk a little bit about.
Uganda, like every other society, has its expectations of particular roles to be played, to be portrayed, and like in many other societies, in Uganda too, there are a lot of people who just do not necessarily fit these expected roles or norms, that matter. And sadly, it seems very, very important to fit a certain role, or fit a certain expected norm. It is of so much importance, people almost forget to live. People are so intent on portraying a certain role they are supposed to be playing. Actually, playing is the right word. You cannot be living if you are playing a certain role. I mean, and these expectations are in many situations very, very stagnating, whether it's mentally or in whichever form, they are stagnating and restricting. You operate already grow values. But that happens in every society, and so it's well, it's important for my children, not just the girls, for the girls and the boys.
Yeah, especially the boys. I like when you talk about the boy, that one situation with the girl and the boy, they say, no, he couldn't do this to her, to the little one. Oh, you're just playing, just kidding. So it's okay.
I hope they learn really early. Human beings are just human beings. People are just people, and the other distinctions are absolutely irrelevant. Female, male, and all of that is the beginning of restriction in the head. Actually, when you, at a very young age, get it applied into you, you are supposed to do just this because you are a girl or a boy. That is the beginning of restriction. I think it would be nice if they grew up understanding from a very early age everybody can do just about anything, regardless of those social restrictions that we actually put on ourselves. Yeah.
And right now, Joanna told me that your beauty salon is still there in Germany. So
no, I closed that. Yeah, when I moved back to Uganda, I closed it. Yeah.
But it's not.
She was actually asking me. She was asking me about why I don't set up again here. Well, for that phase in my life, I really enjoyed that much social contact, as in having a salon like that means you are around a lot of people, a lot of different people from all walks of lives. You hear all kinds of things. And for that particular phase, or for that particular time in my life, that was really exciting. It also gave me a certain amount or a certain feeling of independence as I was doing it by myself. And I think I have grown into, I have no idea what yet, but when she asked why I wouldn't do it here, I realized I probably haven't done it yet because I don't know why I'm putting it on hold. I think I'm enjoying the teaching a lot more now than I did then. Maybe I'm getting calmer and older, and I would rather just sit at the table and teach. So I haven't found a plausible reason why I haven't done it here yet. Or maybe the intensity of the work is different. The physical intensity of the work is different, and the work hours I cannot put in the same hours as I could back then, because when I had the salon, I didn't have the children yet. And the one in Germany closed. So she was asking about why I haven't opened one here.
Oh, okay. See, so life happens and everything changes now. So it's a different context.
Yes. Totally, yes. Life moves us along, kind of.
And a funny situations on the film that you are a runner and Joanna was running with you after you. And there's all these questions about health and being thin. I make no sense. You're so gorgeous.
That took a while. It took me a while to get back here. And sadly, I haven't been running lately. I do not know whether the whole lockdown is locking my brain down, actually. I used to run a lot. I'm not a fast one. I am really, really slow, but I enjoy it so much. And, did it very often back then. And I didn't think I was vain until I had my children and put on so much weight. I think each time I went in to have a baby, I was over 100 kilos. So that definitely bothered me a bit. I wasn't accustomed to it, so I just needed to, I needed to concentrate on getting rid of it, and I did. So that is what the running was mostly about. And she, wanted to see what you do in the morning, which way do you run? So we went out running together. Yeah, but it was more gossiping than running. We were actually just gossiping along the way. It wasn't much running.
But in the film, there's a profession, a competition that everybody was. But in the film, you were in a competition, a running competition.
Yeah, that is the Rotary Cancer Run. It is a yearly event, a very, very open event, and these are the events that I've totally forgotten about because it's, I think, the second year now not going to happen. Yeah, that was the local, the Rotary Cancer Run in the little town here in Ginger. I participated in that because I always wanted to do that. So I did the 10 kilometers or something. That was crashing. That was so painful. Yeah. And she stood out and waited for me with the children. They waited until I got back, and it took me forever to come back. It was a very painful run. It took me forever to come back, and they all waited there until I got back.
One thing that I really like in the film is the kind of the change of perspective, because in the beginning, Joanna is like the leading role, and then she goes to Uganda to meet you, and then you two are getting together, and then you, with your flashing personality, takes all over. It's so beautiful to see you two together and you shining. How it was for you to see you in the film?
How it was for me to see myself in the film?
Yeah, you in the film and your relationship with Joanna and all.
Awkward. Seeing myself on a screen, that is always very awkward. I'm not accustomed to pictures, and so a film was a very big thing. And seeing myself and actually hearing myself speak, that was awkward. I started to think, oh my God, I sound really bad when I laugh. But that was and seeing Joanna and I has intensified the thought. If we all are just ourselves, we can connect with just about anybody. I know what people can see when they watch the film. Most people will see Joanna in a totally different light and me in a totally different light. And it's a pity because we are, in our similarities and in our differences, very strong.
Yeah.
It is good to see how much two people anybody would perceive as very different. It is beautiful to see how two very different people can actually, I do not know the word, how they can actually find to each other so intensively and so easily. The best part about Joanna and I is the ease of our friendship, the amount of laughter. Through all the things that have happened, the amount of laughter is what I have learned to appreciate with Joanna. It is always such a laugh, and it is a really easy one. The depictions people will see, or the portrayals and all of that will not even come close to the ease and the intensity of what we have. We're both really lucky to have each other. It's a very easy and very necessary connection, something you keep going back to. It is strong enough to go back to every time. And that was good to see, of course. It was really good to see. But of course, looking at looking at oneself on a screen is quite awkward. And hearing myself, especially hearing myself, is awkward.
Yeah, but she one of the main things she said, always said about you is your lesson. So that we would love to listen. And we were so frustrated that in Chara Dance we couldn't listen to you laughing. So now I'm
Oh my
really,
goodness.
really happy.
And I was petrified every time I heard it. I thought, oh my goodness, do I sound like about to tell myself not to laugh? Yeah. No, it was wonderful. It was really good.
And about you two together, it's really beautiful and amazing how in different moments of life, passing through different stuff, how do you two together get to the conclusions and everything, about what she was living through, passing through at that moment, the way you talk to her and about the situation of racism that she sees the world with a different eyes, and then you tell her, no, you are like this, but the world, and you talk about all what you've been through as a Black woman in a white society where you lived in Germany. How do you explain to her what you've been through and what she had to choose about when she goes to the rafting?
Yeah.
How we use that as a metaphor for life.
I remember her being upset about feeling feeling different and feeling like she was being treated differently at the rafting place because she didn't see on that day there were no locals going rafting. All the locals still were working there. I think it's right to her. If you look at it through that lens every time, you will not be able to leave or enjoy it. It is there. You will not wake up one day and scrape it away. You will not wake up one day and wipe it off the face of the earth. It is there. What is probably, I think I was explaining to her, what is important would be how you react to it. And the fact that she sees it is already major. Most of the world would pretend it doesn't exist and pretend not to see it, but it is there. And the fact that she can see it from her perspective, that is an enrichment for both of us,
Yeah.
And talking to her about things that happened in Germany, and that is mostly, of course, it's also just girlfriend gossip. We keep telling each other about all kinds of things that happen in our life. And her perception of it, how shocked she is about certain things, that makes her exactly the person I know she is. It makes her the fine soul she is. The world could use many, 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 many Joanna. People who can actually see it and acknowledge that it's there, because it's there, and every human being should at least, you don't have to verbally acknowledge that it's there, but you have to feel a certain way if a human being gets treated differently. It is,
yes,
as a human being, any human being should have enough humanity in them to feel at least uncomfortable about seeing or knowing another human being gets treated differently, So yeah, she sees that all the time. She seems to confront it all the time. And from her point of view, you would even wonder why she sees it. She's able to see it because she sees human beings, and you can see that they get treated differently, and that is quite upsetting sometimes for her. But that is who Joanna is. Joanna is a soft soul.
Yeah, definitely she is. That's for me. I like to. That's all. if you have something else to say about the film, about you two, and the love that you two spread along the process, along the film.
Yeah. So I went to, you know, I like to wish, I like to hope people can have a relationship. It is open, it is comfortable. A relation, any kind of relationship, whether it's a friendship or marriage or whatever it is, every relationship should enjoy this much significance. It should be significant for anybody if it's a good relationship, and we do have a good one. I hope the film gets around. It took her, oh my God, almost 2 decades to get it done. She's diligent. When she sets her mind to something, she wants to see it through. And this one took really, really long. We're both not the people we were when she started off with the idea, when she started thinking of telling that story. We're certainly not the people we were then. And yet we are still as significant for each other as we were back then. And that is a good thing. We've changed, we've evolved, we've grown. And it is good to still have that. It's good to still have that. And I keep going back to it in a good way. So, yeah, she does too. She keeps going. We both keep going back to that stone that it is. Yeah. So I hope the film gets seen a lot. I hope everybody has positive vibes when they watch. I hope everybody has positive feelings. And the story in it should be carried. It's a good story. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Lots of
So
questions.
Yes.
And the film puts a lot of, not only about friendship, but about life, and put a lots of questions more than giving us answers. Because people put a lot of expectations when they see the film. They want like answers for lots of questions, but it's just life, love, and friendship.
Yeah, I mean,
and things are not only like sad, but that's the way life is, you know.
Yeah. I think watching or reading something that makes you question is sometimes even better than the answer. You know, if it can make you question, if it can make you go through certain thought processes instead of just give you an answer, I think sometimes that is actually more relevant. We should look into ourselves a lot more. So if the questions stay, we look into ourselves more, of course, in the hope of finding an answer, but it doesn't always have to give answers. I mean, it's okay for it to just open questions. It starts a certain dialogue, or it starts a certain thought process. And I think the questions are good. If it makes people ask questions, then it's a good story. Then it has actually served a lot of its purpose, I think. So the questions, it's a good thing. It's making people ask questions. That is a beautiful thing.
That's it. That's important. Hope we can meet each other here in Brazil.
When the lockdown
elsewhere.
finally ends.
Yes.
When the lockdown finally ends, I'm sure there will be, everybody's really itching to travel. I haven't traveled myself now for more than a year and a half almost. Yeah. In June, it will be a year and a half. And I've never stayed put that long, ever. I've never not traveled that long in my adult life. It's been a long time. So everybody's itching to travel, and I'm sure there will be quite some traveling to do when we are allowed back out.
Yeah, I hope you can.
Yes, I hope I meet you in person too, Flavia.
Yes, in Brazil. Where else?
Yes, sure.